fast. You don't use Bitcoin, you use Hedera Hashgraph, for example.
Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in to see what I have to say. With that being said, what are we talking about in this? We're talking about QUANT Network and my number 2, Hedera Hashgraph HBAR. Okay, you guys, follow me on this. I know a lot of y'all come for the QUANT, but y'all stay for the Hedera. Hedera is doing incredible things globally, and it almost seems to be now that they're almost in QUANT shadow. Everything QUANT does, Hedera does. Basically saying, this is Overledger. This is this interoperable blockchain solution. Here is this multi-ledger roll-up for your L1s to tap in for your L2s. Here is QUANT Net, giving this to all the institutions. Then they say, well, here is now Hedera, that safe, trusted DLT. You can now interoperate with all of these wonderful solutions that QUANT just provided for you. Follow me on this. Hedera is doing some incredible things globally. Even things like with this last announcement, they are now tapping into the point of sale terminals, you guys, not just at Sitkos, but also at things like Chick-fil-A. With drop. Understand what is happening right now in 2025 with these products and projects that these huge distributed ledger asset players are bringing to the world, you guys. This is incredible. But so we're gonna hop into this thing, okay, you guys? In this first video, it's coming from my boy All in Crypto. Bro, you rock. It is going over an announcement coming from the Bank of England. Now, we already know QUANT Network and the Bank of England has an extensive background and lineage together, okay, you guys? Where the Bank of England is now at the point where they are now tapping into not the private ledgers, but now the public ledgers. This is no coincidence that QUANT now just launched, literally, QUANT Overledger Fusion 2.5 that gives capability to tap into public ledgers safely, compliantly, and now the Bank of England is now running a public ledger trial. Understand and truly see what's happening right in front of our faces, you guys. QUANT Network and Hedera Hashgraph. And don't be wrong, several other ISOs are doing incredible things too, like your XRP, your XLM, your XDC, your IOTAs, all those wonderful things. But somebody asked me in the comments, why is Hedera my number 2? Well, this is one of the major reasons why Hedera is one of my number 2s, because they keep being named in huge things. Okay, you guys, here we go, this video, and I will be right back.
Bank of England website. It says DLT Innovation Challenge, an experimental wholesale settlement DLT challenge in collaboration with the BIS London Centre. In collaboration with the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of England is engaging with the private sector to better understand the implications of incorporating distributed ledger technology into wholesale central bank settlements. Following the challenge, there will be a showcase of aspects of this work at an event in October 2025. So that is set to take place shortly. We will, of course, be taking a look at this. The DLT Innovation Challenge is an initiative to firms to demonstrate how to securely transact and settle central bank money, CBDCs, on an external ledger that is not controlled by the bank. Let's break down the challenge a little bit more. The bank and the Bank of International Settlements want to engage with innovative firms from across the world to broaden their understanding in this area. We want to make sure those working in the space can showcase their work and expertise to the central banking community. For central banks, it is important to understand whether they need to separate the issuance of money from technology and whether operating their own ledger is required. Focusing on technology will help us isolate what is possible in terms of technology, which will help identify key policy questions that need to be addressed. The aim is to focus the challenge on the types of solutions and ledgers not operated by the central bank, but which could support central bank money. In particular, it explores environments where trust is not inherent, where participants must rely on mechanisms other than central bank control of the ledger to ensure security, finality, and integrity. Farming allows us to test how trust can be established in decentralized or externally governed infrastructures, and how insights that may inform the wider wholesale experimentation program. The challenge is purely experimental and does not reflect any intent for the policy by the bank or BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. We are focusing the challenge on the following high-level problem statements. Can wholesale central bank money be transacted and settled on an external programmable ledger, which the Bank of England does not control, and where trust is not inherent? In fact, they are wrong on that. You can trust these ledgers more than you can actually potentially trust your central banks. That's my own personal comment there. Learning outcomes from the submissions could broaden our understanding of the state of DLT in supporting settlement finality and security, ensuring secure, irreversible settlements of central bank money through tamper-proof transactions, controlled issuance, and protection against theft and unauthorized access. Scalability, demonstrating how DLTs handle high transaction volume with low latency, supports efficiency, consensus, and scale both technically and economically with payments and liquidity efficiencies. Network and access controls, exploring how DLT govern digital assets, enforces programmable access and compliance, and balance decentralization with regulatory requirements and reconciliation. Interoperability, how DLTs facilitate seamless communication between diverse financial systems, protocol capabilities, and cross-network functionalities. The bank has previously collaborated with the BIS London Centre on a number of projects, most notably Project Meridian and Project Meridian FX, to explore the use of DLTs in wholesale settlements through synchronization. This involves coordinating the movement of central bank money between accounts in wholesale payment infrastructure, including real-time gross domestic settlements, systems, transferring assets or funds across one or more other external ledgers. Of course, participants include Ava Labs, Chainlink, and Aave, Circle, Digital Asset, and KPMG. Of course, Hedera, HSBC, Kelden, Rails, and the Scottish Centre of Excellence in Digital Trust and DLT.
Now you guys just saw that video. Now listen, this is now the second central bank that now has had Hedera in some type of official document. The first one was, I'm not gonna say the first one, because the reason why I say that, don't forget about MTech, you guys. I brought you guys a video about MTech. Literally, throughout Africa, they now have 7 central banks that they are now building out CBDC's capabilities out on, and MTech is built on top of Hedera. Truly understand and see. Then after those 7 central banks, then we got the Bank of Australia's announcement with Project Acacia. And now we have literally the Bank of England with this new tapping into public ledgers. Truly understand and see. And that's not even talking about the stablecoin stuff that's built out with the Filipino banks and AUDD, which is Australia's stablecoin. So not only is Hedera tied to Hedera, Australia's CBDC, but they're also tied to Australia's stablecoin. They're doing some incredible things, you guys, incredible things for real. But we're getting ready to now tie a little bit of QUANT Network into this and understand that QUANT Network is right there. They've been right there with the Bank of England. They've been right there with the Bank of International Settlements. Even in that video, they talked about 2 projects, which was Project Meridian. We already know that QUANT Network was a part of Project Meridian. How do we know that? Because Gilbert Verdian and one of the key players, I want to say it was the president of literally the Bank of England, sharing a stage together. And one of those things they talked about was Project Meridian. Okay, you guys? Truly understand and see what's being laid out right in front of our face. So I'm going to tap a little bit into a few videos tying QUANT directly to the Bank of England and tying them directly to the Bank of International Settlements, and I will be right back.
That is, there's been a lot of policy thinking, a lot of economic thinking to date, And a lot of the next level of thinking is, what does this mean to consumers? What does this mean to businesses? And what does this mean to the economy? And the common theme we're seeing with the work we're doing with central banks is the only way to answer those questions is to practically test it with your local domestic and commercial banks to understand what does this mean. So from our perspective, I mean, we're an infrastructure provider. We create the issuance of CBDCs and the interoperability of CBDCs with payment systems. And the common themes are around, why a digital pound, why a digital euro, why a digital dollar. And it's an evolution of money, and cash is always going to be there, as Tom was just saying. But having a digital form of cash, a new form of smart money, can really unlock a lot of benefits to consumers and businesses, because we're right now relying on a traditional architecture of push and pull payments, and having logic built in by having the ability to program money to do innovative things is going to really transform how GDP can grow, how businesses can reduce workflows, and how consumers can spend a new form of money. So we're right at the beginning of that thinking, but the next step is to practically test it with your local domestic banks.
So experiments are hugely important to us. We've done a bunch already. So we've done two with the Bank for International Settlements, who have a London centre, Project Rosalind and Project Meridian. Meridian was focused on housing, just recently been published. Rosalind should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. It's focused on central bank digital currency. I mean, Gilbert has been really important in this. He was a sort of an important participant with QUANT providing inputs.
On Project Rosalind.
Project Rosalind is our collaboration with the Bank of England and the Bank of International Settlement to understand and test with the industry what a retail central bank digital currency looks like.
On the infrastructure side, we hosted the blockchain. We built the smart contracts. We exposed the smart contracts to a kind of a back-end API. So this is the technical work. And we're also involved in kind of building the requirements, right? So we spent a lot of time in workshops with all of the other folks in the project, building out how should this work. So there's a lot of detail in that. So in terms of participation, we put a lot of expertise into the project, we put a lot of experience into the project, and then we did all the technical work as well.
What we learned was there's a way we can make money, a digital pound, for example, smart. We saw firsthand participants like the Central Bank of Canada, Amazon, Barclays, MasterCard use this innovative escrow technology that we built to create new types of payments and new types of flows.
Now, as you guys can see, QUANT Network ties back to some of the largest entities in the world. And now we see Hedera trailing them. So QUANT is giving them the safe space to interoperate in, and Hedera is giving them the DLT, the public DLT, to tap into, to interoperate in those safe spaces. Because don't forget, I want to say this was in August when QUANT first announced the developer hub of Overledger Fusion. One of those updates was literally EVM compatibility and tapping into SWI and Hedera.
I want you guys to understand that there is something here. And like he points out, as in Gilbert, timing that we released QUANT Fusion's open source connector specification, been trialed very successfully, and within days of releasing specification connectors for EVM, Hedera and SWI had been built.
Okay, you guys, I brought you a whole video about that. Follow me on this. Hedera Hashgraph is my number 2 for a reason. Look at it like this. For me, for QUANT is that interoperability stack that anything can be built on top of and anything can flourish, and it taps into any blockchain. But what Hedera is doing is bringing them a infinitely scalable public ledger that has legal finality. And trust me, most public ledgers do not have legal finality, and it's giving them no front running, which means that the processes will actually be sent through in the order that it was received, which is regulatory compliant. Understand what that means. And you now have the largest players in the world tapping into this DLT, which is not a blockchain, but it's the next generation of blockchain, which is a hash graph. Truly understand and see what this gossip protocol from Hedera truly is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything about the other ISOs. I want to say XRP is a great project. I want to say XLM are great projects. But what Hedera is bringing is a different take, a more advanced take, a more future proof take. This is the reason why they have so many things going on with the Internet of Things and ensuring that they are future proof and quantum proof as much as you can be in this day and age. That, like, y'all understand why Hedera has a 100-year roadmap. And the way Quant is setting up infrastructure, they have a 1,000-year roadmap, if you ask me, because the infrastructure that's being laid on top of Overledger right now, so that projects like Hedera can truly thrive, because it's not just. And I know, trust me, I know that Hedera is linked to Link. Like, I understand that because that's one of their governing council members. I get it. Listen to me what I'm ready to say to you right now. Even Link will have to adhere to the global standard ramifications. Understand, when Gilbert Verdian made that statement that we even literally connect interoperability blockchains, he meant that.
Not benefit from all blockchains. And so what we've done with Overledger, it's an operating system that sits on top of existing first-generation blockchains, second-generation blockchains, nth-generation blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and interoperability blockchains, and it allows you to connect seamlessly without giving you any extra overhead.
You just saw him say it. Truly understand and see what's happening right now. You are a part of a global standard that is now tied to multiple different global standardizing organizations and bodies and internet protocols. And now you have governments and central banks now naming you publicly, and some of the most largest software providers in the world now naming you publicly and naming your technology publicly. Understand what QUANT Network is going to be moving out of 2025, moving into 2026, as a lot of these things start to become a reality that we'll start to actually see, because all of the proofs of concepts and all of the testing and all of the beta is now in live active things. And most people, like I say all the time, will not understand that they're even utilizing Hedera. They won't understand that they're utilizing QUANT Network or any other DLT. They'll just know that something called a stable coin is now being issued by either their employer, or they've come in contact with it. Maybe a friend sent them some money and they sent it in the form of a stable coin, or stimulus is given and you have to literally get a digital wallet to receive the stimulus. And don't forget what I've told y'all. Most of you guys, banks in America, have already built out digital infrastructure in the background, because they have to be able to tie into this ISO standard that goes live November 2022. Okay, you guys? So most of you already have digital bank accounts and you don't even realize it unless you call and ask. Okay? So once they switch into this new system of tokenized bank deposits and of literally stable coins, you guys, it is going to be seamless. And people will just be adopted in. And they will have no clue who the infrastructure, who the backbone of it all is. And you have players like Hedera Hashgraph, HBAR, and my number one, QUANT Networks QNT, facilitating infrastructure of it all. I really appreciate all of y'all tuning in. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all for tapping in. If you made it all the way through this entire video, type in QNT and HBAR, because QUANT Network and the work that HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, is doing, y'all, it is incredible to see in 2025. Until the next time, y'all already know I appreciate y'all. Peace out.